Hello guys, welcome to the Soccer. So the Black Stars played a 0-0 draw at home against Sudan. I'm here with my good friend Audu. We are going to analyze the game, look at possibly how the Black Stars played and then how we can also work on in our next game against Sudan. Audu, thanks for joining us. First of all, let's look into the game itself and your major talking point first.
Well, I think there was an improvement in the lackluster performance we are used to seeing with the Black Stars. I think in terms of creativity, they did create a lot of chances, and I mean, unfortunately, they couldn't really capitalize on the chances they created. I mean, in terms of their build-up play as well, I think it was very good than the previous matches we've played. So in that regard, I think it was very good. But from the fact that we couldn't get the maximum points, I think that is very hurting to our chances of progressing to the Afcon Cup of Nations, which is what is a bit concerning for us right now, because 2 points out of a possible 9 for the Black Stars is a very difficult one to take. And the fact that you look at the table right now and then you think that the Black Stars have to depend on how other fixtures go to stand a chance of qualifying for the next African Cup of Nations. So in terms of performance, it was a big performance, but in terms of results, I think it's a very difficult one to take for the Black Stars.
Yeah, that's true. I think it showed on them, like how the players reacted right after the game. But let's look at the boys applying themselves more. Prior to this game, we've talked about character, giving out more, being committed. I think in this game, individually and even as a group, each player gave more than I think 80%.
Yeah, I think there was the desire, there was that passion that the fans were craving for, and I think everyone saw and you could see the cheers from the fans as well. So when you try to give that sort of urgency and passion, you get that feedback from the fans showing their support to you, and I think that's exactly what happened in today's game, except that they couldn't really take their chances when it came their way. I felt like it was very rare under Otto Addo, actually, let me say, that you see the Black Stars create a lot of opportunities. But in this game, I felt like they created enough opportunities for them to at least take one of them. But it's a game of football, like we all agree. There is another opportunity for them to really get things right when they play against Sudan again in the next fixture. So nothing is lost, I think, in terms of what we've emphasized on already in terms of how they approach the game. There was that passion and desire that's been lacking from them in the previous game. So they need to keep up with that kind of momentum, and hopefully they will get lucky in the next games, and hopefully we can see them score a lot of goals and boost their chances of at least qualifying to the Afcon Cup of Nations.
Let's talk about the individual players and then see possibly if we can rate them with their performance. At least Atiziki was obviously on a holiday. I think just some few moments that he was called upon, he did great. That's the free kick save was good, and also the fact that for the first time, I think in his national team career, he happens to keep a clean sheet. A very positive one, good for his confidence too as well. If we are rating him, I think he will be. How will you rate him? Like,
well, I think
out of 10.
I really don't understand why he gets a lot of backlash from the Ghanaian fans, actually. I think he's been relatively okay for the Black Stars anytime he's featured in the post for them. So, and in this game as well, I mean, he's been very alert. When goalkeepers are not really called upon, sometimes they might lose their concentration and it might really affect the team. But in his case, he kept his alert, and when he was called upon, he did very well. So I think he deserves a 7-10 rating in my eyes.
That's good. I think he was good, and he played more because Ghana was always on the ball, and he was very, very involved in the play. He was almost high up the pitch trying to. I think he was great. I think 7 because that save he did, that free kick save was very important, and he did it good. Let's talk about the right back, Kalidou Seidu.
Yeah, I think obviously he was the man of the match, and you could see he was the toast of the fans as well. I mean, a lot of the fans chanting his name and everything. So I think a 9-10 performance in my.
Yeah, I think it was great. We've always complained about he searching forward, and I think this time around he was the one that was doing more of the rounds, because you realize we're attacking more from the right side. where the coach allows Niyama to enter. So he finds spaces behind him, and almost all the time he moves forward. He makes something out of it. And I think for a player that we have complained about his inability to move forward, for him to be able to be very great on the day, I think he deserves that 9. Maybe 8 or 8.5. But I think solid performance. Jiku, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's been the rock in that defense. His experience is very key in the way the Black Stars defend. So I think it was a relatively quiet performance because we were mostly on the front foot. So I think 7-10 is okay for me.
Yeah, and same. I think I would give him 6.5 because I think that ball that hit the post, he should have scored because he was alone. He was basically left alone. It was a free header. If he was a bit calmer than just heading the ball, he would have easily just put the ball into the net. And I think that was what was the downside. Apart from that, he led the team. He tried to go long when he get the chance. I think I would give him 6.5, but 6.5 fair for me. Salisu.
Yeah, I think he also deserves a 7. Our best performance today were the defenders actually because they were hardly called upon. They weren't carved open like we saw in our last game against Niger. So I think in that regard, he also deserves a 7.
I think Salisu, I think they were very calm. In moments when he was called upon, he did great. My only challenge is his offensive abilities. Like when there's corner kick, when there's free kick, he has the heights. And you could realize that most of the times we want to find him. And when you find him and nothing comes out of it, it becomes a challenge. I think those are the little things he needs to start working on. But apart from that, I think defensively they were very solid. They did great, managed to play. And because we're also more progressing the ball more, they were always involved in build-up play, which was very important. Left Gideon Mensah.
Yeah, I think he also deserves a 7-10. Like I said, our best performers today were the defenders. And I think he surged forward when he needed to surge forward, except in some few cases where you expected him, because he's got a very good whip on the ball, you expected him to put the balls in the area. But I mean, I think it happens sometimes, so I think he deserves a 7-10 as well.
Yeah, I think it's true, and also I think he was a bit more careful. I don't know whether it was more of the coach telling him not to move forward from his side because he's now coming out of injury. Because you remember Ali Dusedu's side was more offensive, but he was a bit more careful. He doesn't really move forward. And as you said, we're expecting him to whip the ball most of the times because he's very good with bending the ball. But he really didn't give us that cross. But it's fair, as you said. I think I would give him 6.5 or 7, just as you're saying. Let's go to the midfield. Ibrahim Suleiman.
Yeah, I think for someone who was starting his first game for the Black Stars, he did very well. He wasn't fazed by the atmosphere. He carried the ball when he needed to carry the ball forward. And I liked the fact that he was very brave in going forward.
Yeah.
He did his job, basically. So I think he also deserves a 7-10 in my eyes.
Yeah, I would give him 8. Because first of all, I think he had confidence in the game. He wasn't scared of picking the ball, and he also brought the best out of Elisha Owusu. Took a lot of ball progression responsibilities from Elisha Owusu. So that made Elisha Owusu settle down a bit and just do his basic job, that is win the ball, find Ibrahim Suleiman and give it to him, and Suleiman will progress the ball. I think he was very good, and he improvised by taking a very good shot that Kudus got a rebound for a player who was playing his first game. And in his first competitive game, I should say, I think he really did well. And also, it wasn't even because the coaches had him in mind to let him go and play. It was just because Partey wasn't around. And I think he walked into the game very well, showed a lot of confidence and played well. I would give him 8, in my opinion. I think he did solidly well. Let's talk about Elisha Owusu.
Yeah, I think for me, he did his job as well. He brought a lot of energy in that midfield. Yeah. He did his defensive responsibilities there.
Basic job.
I think in terms of how we mapped up tactically, it was very key because at a point in the game, you could realize that a lot of our players were pushing forward, and it was that extra man in that midfield that was tracking back and trying to make sure that we don't concede goals from the break. So I think in that regard, he also deserves a 7-10 for his performance.
I think the coach walks into the presser and commended him for his job. I think there was a point he was the one covering all the grounds. And sometimes you need players that give the ability to dribble around just because they want to save the team. And I think maybe that's the job that the coach wants him to do, where he tries to win the ball for the team, try to progress, like, you know, that kind of players that their job is just to defend and help the team, not to, whilst others play around, his job is just win the tackles, do the basic things and save the team. I would give him a 7.5, but I think it was a fair result. Let's move to our forwards. We start with Kudus.
Yeah, Kudus was not up to his usual level, but I mean, he always made sure that something happened when he was on the ball. At least he was that guy who was trying to make things happen, and especially when he missed that opportunity that we all thought he should have scored. He didn't lose his head. The next moment, he created a very good opportunity. Unfortunately, we couldn't take that opportunity. But for the fact that he wasn't up to his usual levels and the fact that he was captaining the Black Stars for the first time, I think he also did well, because it's not easy to fill in the shoes of the likes of DDIU for what they have contributed to the Black Stars. So for him to have been able to manage the occasion very well, I think he deserves a 6.10 in my eyes for his performance.
I think 6 or 6.5. It was like an okay performance from Kudus. I think when he needed to dribble, he did. Like, he did the basic things. Although he's a victim of his own success. Like, he expects that he could do extra more. But I just said 6.5. Let's, Jordan, you just mentioned that instead of breaking it down. Jordan, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a 6 for me as well.
Yeah, I think his style, he needs to perhaps decide whether he would come and just take a touch or he would stay up front. Because Jordan's best chance in this game was when he was up front and they found him. He was able to take a shot, but when he comes to play shots, it worries him a bit. He said he's a number 9. He should stay up front and try. I think I would also give Jordan 6. Who was that? Semenyo, yes. Semenyo and then Nyama. Semenyo.
Yes, Semenyo, I think he also deserves a 6. He also had chances he should have taken, but I mean, he didn't perform to his usual level, so I would give him a 6.
I would give Semenyo a 5, because I think there was moments where I was expecting him to be more decisive, move forward, attack the goal, attack with a bit of aggression. That's what Semenyo is known for. Pick the ball, take on players, be more aggressive up front, but he lacked that in the game, especially right after the second half. I would give him a 5. And that's Nuama.
Nuama, I think for me, he was, I don't like to be very hard on players actually, but I think he was the poorest player for the Black Stars because of, he was mostly indecisive. He was guilty of giving away a lot of the balls, and when he took his man on, he didn't really have the confidence to make the right decisions in the final third. So for me, he was the poorest player for the Black Stars, so I'll give him a 5.
Okay. Yeah, same here. I think his job was more of taking on his marker one-on-one, but he really didn't do that often. He was just doing the basic touches, pass the ball and move forward. So I would also give him a 5. I think the substitutes, there was Inaki Williams who came up on Brendan May. Michael Buedu also came on. I think Inaki was not bad.
Yeah, he was very lively, and I think for me, it was the liveliest I've seen him in a Black Stars jersey today. So for a second half performance, we need to rate him. So I think I'll give him a 6.5 for his
performance. I think he added a lot of energy up front. He did well. I think he has earned the chance to start in our next game, possibly. But let's see what the coaches do. The team as a group, how much, like that, if you are rating the entire team?
Well, I think it was a 6-10 performance for me as a team, because we needed to win, we needed the results. I'm not someone who is going to salivate over the performances of the team, but I mean, I was just interested in the results because it was a must-win game actually for the Black Stars, and for the experience they have in their team, they ought to have crossed that finish line. Unfortunately, they fell short in that regards, and it could cost them a place in the African Cup of Nations next year. And for a nation like Ghana to miss out on the African Cup of Nations is really a dent on the quality of players we have and the kind of performance we see them churn out week in, week out in their various clubs. So it's for me.
It comes to the next game. We're going away Libya against Sudan. How tough and how easy will it be? How
Well,
tough or how easy will it be?
well, I think we can take confidence from the performances we've seen today.
Yeah.
The Black Stars created a lot of opportunities. I saw the coach alluded to lack as a reason why we didn't win that. We didn't win today's game. So, from performance, I think we could actually pose a lot of threats to the Sudanese. As to whether we would have that quality to find the back of the net is what
Another thing.
should be the problem for the coach to worry about. But again, they are playing at home. I saw the assistant coach in the press conference allude to the fact that they thrive on their home form, and they had already anticipated that on the road they would try and then get some
but
points,
at
and
home
then
they
at
would win
home they
every
would
game.
try everything they can to win all their games at home, which means that they have a plan when they play at home. And as to whether we can figure that plan out and hurt them where we can is what we wait to see in the next game. But I mean, obviously, with this performance that we've seen, the Black Stars should be able to go away from home and beat, especially the fact that Sudanese are not playing at their own back and they are playing home away from home. So we should be able to beat them at Libya, especially when we know that we need that result very badly.
Well, we need to win. I think today was an improved performance. Defensively, we're a bit more solid. I spoke with Otuado. I asked him how he'll be able to get the players to be more confident in playing the next game. He said that's the tough part, but he'll try his best. Let's see what happens in our next game. We are playing them on 14th. The guys are here. They are making a lot of noise, so we have to go. My name is Elali Frank. This is the also. Let me know what you also think in the comment section. Thank you, Awudu, for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Until we meet again, bye-bye for now.